So this was the spice mixtures from the Canary Islands that were given to us. And James asked about them, so I gotta bring them out. Oh, I should show you what he's eating. It's exciting. Well, he's not eating it. He hasn't seen it yet. But I'm just having Kraft dinner, and that expired several months ago because I didn't want to eat it, but I'm tired, and I went to all the work of making that for James, so I made that for me. My plate of garlic. It's a pretty sad meal, but I can eat vicariously through James. So what I did was I took my broccoli pulp from the past few days. I've been drinking my juice with broccoli and green cauliflower. So that's what's in there, mixed with a bit of mashed potatoes and egg yolks. And then I rolled them about a little bit in spelt flour, and then I put them in the egg whites, and then I put them in breadcrumbs. And it's breadcrumbs I've made myself, so you can see some flax seeds and stuff like that. I don't like to heat up flax seeds, but it's in there. But this isn't entirely healthy anyway, so whatever. And there's more of the green bean French fries that he likes with the homemade ketchup and sauerkraut. So there's some healthiness to it, and enough unhealthiness that I think he's going to enjoy it. So, because I can make him the healthiest food in the world, but if he's not going to eat it, then what's the point, right? So I know he's going to enjoy these, because I would have really enjoyed them. So yeah, and then you just fry them in coconut oil, and that's that. So I would enjoy eating that a lot more than Kraft dinner, but that's what I'm having, so whatever. Have it set right? I don't know. Huh. I'll talk about those in a minute. I'm going to get my garlic and stuff over with. I was really, really, really overheating today. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. This, I guess, is a bit cooler. But it's too hot in the house, and we did cool the house down last night a bit, but too hot. And I guess I spent too much time in there, but I tried to cool off a little bit by laying out here, but it's, not that shady, and it was cooler than the house. So I laid and I read books. I made notes. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Gotta get my garlic over with. I'm procrastinating. Worst part of the day. Just terrible. The gross juice of the morning, I pretty much sleepwalk through that, but this, I'm fully awake for it. It's terrible. So bad. Really gets like, you know, I guess bile flowing. Like when you feel like you're gonna throw up and you get that gross tasting hot spit in your mouth. Yeah. That's what you get when you take all that garlic. Well, it actually happens when you just take a little garlic at first. You gotta work your way up to 8 cloves of garlic at once. That just come right back up again. Anyway. I'm not worried about the fact that this expired several months ago, because the way I figure it, it was never food to begin with. And I'm very grateful for it, because it was given to me. So I'm very thankful. But here I am eating it, so. It is getting used. So, I'll talk a little bit more about this one that I talked about earlier, because I missed mentioning a few things. Now, back near the back of the book here, after the dogs, she talks about her chickens. Herbs for chickens and other poultry. So if you're raising your own chickens, and if you're eating eggs, you really should be. If you at all have the space and it's legal for you to do so. There are some restrictions if you live in the city. Some cities allow you to and others do not. So it's worth checking into so that you know. And anyway, so some preventative poultry feed and free choice herbs. So I don't know what exactly free choice. Anyway, thyme, astragalus, oregano, garlic, turmeric, sage, basil, calendula. And that's on page 282, and she talks about what the various benefits of those things are. And calendula, now she says, is high in vitamins, and the color of calendula enhances the yolk of chicken egg. And that's sort of true. It would be the beta cryptoxanthin in the calendula. And I suppose the same would be true of marigolds. Anyway, so what else does she talk about? She gives a few recipes for, like, if you're, it's a good idea. She's talking about avian flu and having to worry about her chickens when birds are migrating. And so if you suspect that some birds are migrating through your area, over your farm or whatever, then she's giving it's like a preventative treatment for avian flu. So she gives this once a month, she says, this decoction for 5 to 7 days during the migration period. And it's elderberry, ginger root, astragalus root, garlic, water, and thyme. She tells you how to make it there. And then there's some other things. She tells you what to put in the dust bath. Stuff like that. It's interesting and useful. So I'm very glad to have had the opportunity to borrow this book from my public library. So go ahead and try one of those.
What are those?
They're broccoli nuggets made with broccoli, and cauliflower, green cauliflower pulp, and potato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fried?
Yep.
Okay.
And I brought the ketchup out for you to eat if you want. And wanted to know about the Canary Island spices. That's those.
Oh,
Remember
whoa. Wow.
So just be careful because it is open at the bottom,
Ooh,
eh?
thank
So
you.
yeah, I
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't
you
see
can't read.
it, but it's looks to just be Spanish, which is what I expect, because I presume they come from the Canary Islands.
Yeah. So James watched this movie how many times?
Well, parts of 3 times. So
And what do you have to say about clean skin?
I didn't get any better any of the 3 times. Going through 3 times, it was not just god awful, but goddamn awful. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I don't like to swear too much, but
No,
geez.
but it
Anyway,
must have been pretty bad then.
it was awful. It
Yeah.
was hilariously political. I mean, yeah.
All right.
So I won't get into the details and all that sort of stuff, but it was just very poorly done. I don't expect much from the Brits, but yeah, very, 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 very poorly done.
This was great. Get baked. Space cakes, pot brownies, and other tasty cannabis creations by Dane Noon and Lex Lucid.
Lex Luthor.
That's so great, hey?
Yeah, no bad.
And when I picked this up from the library, I was a little disappointed. It's so thin and small. But you know, there was a lot of information in here that I had no idea. Like, I'm not a person who knows about such things, but you know, they rated some different kinds of marijuana. Explain some of the differences between different types of hash and stuff, which some people might be interested in knowing, especially now that it's going to be legal for people to partake. When you smoke cannabis, less than 10% of the active ingredient enters your body temple. When you eat it, you get 100% of the magic ingredient coursing through your inner space. And that's on page 18. So consider cooking, but not smoking. And you know, I had never really thought about it. I've heard about people making hash browns and stuff like that. But I'd never really thought about the fact that it might actually be healthier to do so rather than smoking it too. I've thought about, why would people smoke marijuana? Because then they could get lung cancer and stuff like that. Just, you know, why do that, right? Why risk? Anyway. But you might be able to avoid that by eating this. I don't know. And they make wonderful looking things. Cupcakes. Don't those look lovely? Oh. They teach you how to make a
just
can
the
of
look
butter.
of them gets me high, let me tell you.
I know, hey? They
Sky
look
high
lovely.
now. Yeah.
And so this can of butter, you can make this basically, you take your marijuana and then you put it in a pot with some butter and some water, and then you cook it on a very low temperature for 22 to 24 hours. And then you turn that off, and then you end up skimming the butter off you pour it into a bowl to get the cannabis out of the stuff, to strain it out, and then you put that in the bowl in the fridge. And just like, you know how I taught you to put your coconut milk cans in the fridge so that you could get the cream separates from the water that way, and you get just the cream to make whipped cream? That's what you do with this. So the coconut or the butter, from this separates. And there you go. So you know how I plan on making this just by hearing me talk about it. It's going to be coconut butter. It's not going to be
Good stuff.
butter. And that'll make the treats even yummier.
I think so.
Yep. Because I want to practice making this stuff for when James needs it. Because I've heard about people using marijuana for cancer and stuff like that. And one day he might actually need it. So if I can get good at cooking stuff that he will like to eat, like pizza.
There we go.
They put it in pizza dough.
There we go. I mean, that is a little slice of heaven on earth.
I know.
Enough
And
to
well,
get
of course, the things you would like brownies and stuff. But the cupcakes, like you could make the icing out of their can of butter, right? A butter icing out of the can of butter.
Sounds like a plan.
Exactly. But, I mean, James is a cookie monster, so I have a feeling I know what I'm going to be cooking for him when the time comes. So, but they make all sorts of things in this book. They make hummus. They put it in soup and chili. Mushroom and couscous sausages. So that right there is not a vegan sausage, but it's ovo. You have an egg in there.
Well,
but you're fine with that.
I'd be fine with it.
So I think you'll like it. And so I plan on trying a lot of these, but I won't be able to try them right away because I haven't grown any marijuana. But when I do, then I will be happy to try these recipes because I can tell they're good recipes. I can taste recipes when I read them. I can taste what the food will be like, and they came up with some good ones here. So I would recommend this book, having not even tried the recipes yet. I bet they'll be good. Now I can't imagine the flavor of marijuana exactly with these things because I haven't tried that. I have no problem with it. But I just haven't tried.
Maybe it tastes like hemp seeds mixed with everything.
I've tried hemp. I like hemp protein in my smoothies. So
hemp on cupcakes? We'll see.
And I like using the Body Shop hemp foot stuff cream. So I haven't in a long time though because we haven't been able to afford it, but I love that stuff. And so I imagine it's something like that, right?
Maybe.
Anyway, and this is a book that I also went through today, Cannabis by Neve Tapiero, and it's partially, I think, by the government or something. I'm not exactly sure. At least
or funded
maybe, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, you want to talk about?
No, it does say, see, publishing activities. Well, you can't read. Why'd I even give you this?
Well, if I hold it, it's fairly large.
Well, you can see the Canada symbol.
See them.
I think it might be funded in part, or somehow associated with the government.
It says the financial support of the government of Canada.
Okay.
So it's just, I don't know, maybe a lot of those guys in Ottawa are really hotheads, maybe they know a lot about it.
No, but they put together a good little book here. And this answered a lot of questions that I didn't even know I had. But if you're deciding, I want to grow marijuana and for business and whatever, think again. It's maybe not possible for you to enter that business world. There are some pretty expensive startup costs that you may not be.
You basically got to win the lottery.
Yeah. The current cost to get a building approved as a fully licensed producer will cost 2 to 10 million CAD. and there could be a 2 to 5 year waiting period, not including the time and cost of obtaining a building first. There you go. There was I can't remember, it was like a $2 million application fee kind of process.
Wow, they could turn you
something
down.
like that. I don't know.
Well,
but read the book, and then you'll know. They talk about different kinds of, like, I've never even heard of this stuff. Some of the type of extracts made from high or low grade cannabis bubble, and they tell you how to do it a little bit. Some people use dry ice. I don't know. Butane hash oil is made by passing butane through a canister of ground cannabis. A lot of this sounds really frightening to me.
I don't think you'd want to ingest too much of that butane.
Buddha, so that's good to know too. If you're thinking, oh yeah, I might want to buy this, do you really? Because, I don't know. It says it must be fully purged of hydrocarbons using a vacuum purging machine, and it's like, okay, well,
what's fully, in reality, and what's fully
when
legally
it gets,
are two
exactly.
different.
How much testing is there going to be to make sure that it has been fully purged of hydrocarbons?
Well,
I don't know.
some of those guys in Ottawa might want to test it personally, eh?
Yeah. Buddha is similar to BHO, which is the last one. I don't know. ISO is made using isopropanol or isopropyl alcohol.
Fun times. That stuff is pretty.
That stuff sounds frightening to me. Phoenix Tears, the process is similar to ISO, but using heptane, camping fuel, instead of isopropyl.
Brilliant.
So I thought that was interesting. And then there's a terpene chart here that I found interesting.
Sounds like turpentine.
No, check it out. Oh, you can't see. Okay, never
Well,
mind.
I can. The canary stuff was just written very, very cool.
If I hold it
So
there,
see, like way out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, all that stuff looks dangerous. It looks extremely carcinogenic. Each one gets worse than the previous.
Well, you know, it's good to be aware of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your verdict on those?
Oh, these are great.
Okay.
Yeah. They're awesome.
If someone is more than a casual consumer of cannabis, like you need to, it's good to get your, one thing I was going to say, the prescription. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it said somewhere in here only 1% of doctors have given prescriptions for these things. So your chances of getting a prescription for this is slim, it sounds like.
But if you're the small percentage who are heavy users, or?
Yeah.
This is the Snoop Dogg clause?
Yeah. If you're more than a casual consumer of cannabis, I would strongly recommend obtaining a Health Canada medical license to possess and or cultivate, especially if you're diagnosed with a chronic or terminal condition. Here is why. With a license, you have a right to consume your medical cannabis anywhere you can consume tobacco. As a recreational user, you may be banned from consuming cannabis in public spaces. This will vary from province to province, and not all the rules have been set yet. Your workspace is supposed to designate a space for you to consume your medicine. You can grow more than 4 plants at a time, that's what it's for everyone else who owns a residence. You can grow 4, but you can grow more than 4 if you get this medical license to possess or cultivate. So, per single residence. You can possess more than the recreational limit of 30 grams of cannabis, depending on the physician prescription. You can possess more than the recreational limit. 7.5 grams of concentrates, depends on physician's prescription. You can possess all forms of cannabis. The Cannabis Act does not allow for extracts and edibles yet. Each province will decide when they'll be made available to the public. It's not clear if consuming medical cannabis and driving is a convictable charge of impairment. It's easier to convict as a recreational user. However, police can impound your vehicle and charge you if they believe you pose a danger on the road, whether you're on legal or illegal drugs, or even none at all. Some extended insurance will cover, now or in the future, a percentage of your cost of medicines, which will include cannabis. As a medicinal user, the cost of setting up a grow room, electrical costs, ongoing costs, nutrients, replacement parts may be tax deductible. Your Health Canada issue document may be recognized by some medical dispensaries in foreign countries and select U.S. states. However, Health Canada states it's not valid outside of Canada. So there you go.
I think you say dispensary, but
did I say it wrong?
Dispensary. It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
I think. That's a Canadian thing? See, I think that's what they used to call drugstores in Africa. Dispensary. I can't remember. Anyway, I've heard the word before.
Well, they talk about a lot of things in this book. I just mentioned a few things, but there is so much information. Also, when I got this thing, I'm like, oh, it's so thin. They cover a lot in a little bit of ground, so it's worth the read.
It's like potent weed, eh? Not much of it, but a real buzz. Well, there you go.
And what I wanted to say about why I made these broccoli nuggets, well, I made them because I knew you would like it.
Yeah, they're like little footballs or something like that. Is football season coming up? Well, it already is for Canadians and Americans coming up pretty soon. So.
But also, I made them not only because I knew he would like them. You didn't even eat any ketchup with your stuff.
Yeah, that's how good it is, right? See, that's living proof. See, like even I was going to eat. I ate the ketchup on the
French fries,
the chips the other day. But if I'm eating with something else, it's great. But if I were eating it by myself, I would. Well, there you go. It's healthier. But this is probably much better. Even though I do like cooked beans, these are cooked, right?
Yeah, they're boiled.
There you go. See.
I boiled them with the macaroni.
Well, fun times.
And then I fished them out.
Macaroni tastes better.
Yeah, probably.
Not much, but
yeah, no. It's
that's
like
the only way to eat that
craft
kind
dinner.
of macaroni.
The only thing exciting about it is the color.
Yeah,
you have your first bite and you're like, yum, and then the second bite is disgusting.
Pretty close for me. Third bite for me, but the second bite's neutral. First bite's awesome.
Yeah, but I think that's just the color.
It's part of it. Anyway, the law of diminishing returns sets in so fast.
Huh.
It's like a door closing to a dungeon. Just boom.
I keep getting distracted. I finally cooled down. Feel. Not overheating anymore.
Yeah, huge difference. That's awesome.
I overheat
well, it's kind
sometimes.
Of cool and,
I don't know what it is, but my blood does not flow.
No.
So I get like a furnace here. It's like super hot.
Or
and
like a heat
like
register.
Down here too, but my torso is just on fire.
Yeah.
And my hands are cold, and my toes are ice.
I was looking to see if my hands were blistered.
But now it's flowing a little bit, I guess, because I'm.
Yeah.
Whew,
anyway, it was pretty hot.
It was pretty bad. I was feeling terrible.
Yeah.
But I didn't throw up. So anyway, why I made the broccoli things was to show you, and I guess I didn't because I didn't get him to cut it open and show you the inside. But
I was cutting it open. Maybe they saw some.
I doubt it.
Anyway, it's pretty
very
good.
Far away.
I'm telling you, this stuff was